This episode is brought to you by Airlink, high-speed internet technology that you deserve.
Novy Foland.
Yes, sir.
The voice of Fayette. As I was thinking last night, I was like, man, I just had Chuck and Lou Thompson on, a legend of Fayette. Mm-hmm. And I would call you a legend of Fayette too, the voice of Fayette. Because for a while there, it felt like you were doing anything that was announcing was you. I think you did our football games. How long did you do football games?
I did Central Methodist football and basketball for like 10 years. And the high school asked me to do it for a few years in there whenever they need me to fill in. So just kind of all within that same time frame that I did it. And then with changes in career, the time just didn't work out anymore.
Did you get paid to do those?
Yes.
Well,
not very much. I mean, not very much.
Will you share? Like, was it per game? Was it per hour?
If I did a doubleheader of Central Methodist basketball, it was 50, I think. And if I did a single game, it was 30.
Okay.
Football was 40, I think.
Nice.
And high school, I think, was all volunteer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Did you invent that's another Fayette Falcon first down? Was that you?
Well,
or has that always been a thing?
Well, I was the first person that really started trying to do it that way.
Right.
But of course, I was just riffing off of the Chiefs.
Sure.
Because, they did it. But I think I was the first person that did it while announcing, trying to get the whole crowd to do it.
Gotcha.
So,
well, anyway, yeah, I was thinking last night, I was like, it's just the voice of Fayette. Like, if people want voiceovers or, man, dang it. I meant to bring like Goodnight Moon. And I was going to finish the podcast with you reading it.
Right. Well, speaking of voiceover work, I'm in a business networking group in Columbia, and Scott Electric out of the Yeah. They asked me to do a testimonial form on a radio commercial because I had them do some work for Mickey's Beauty Shop and Our Home. But then they also wanted me to end it with their slogan. And then they ended up using it for a while. And it was, Scott Electric, we always turn you on.
Okay. Since you get marketing stuff, I had this marketing idea yesterday while walking Henry.
All right.
Which is great. I need to take him on walks more. So I'm getting into golf. I don't know if you golf or anything.
I used to golf, but again, with the schedule change and, getting older and I have the flexibility of a 2x4.
Okay.
So,
right. Well, anyway, so you can at least then tell me if as a golfer, this would annoy you or if it would make you laugh. I think it would make you laugh, but I had this idea. So I'm the type of person where I'll leave like golf balls, cut up golf balls or golf balls I'll find in conspicuous areas where you might think it's your golf ball, just to be annoying. But also it's kind of fun because I'm the kind of guy who's bad enough at golf that if I saw a ball wedged in a tree, I'd be like, that could be my ball.
Could be my ball.
So here's my idea. I am going to put, as I golf, this is not going to be good. Anyway, I'm going to put balls like in the middle of the fairway, like brand new golf ball, just in the middle of the fairway. I'm going to leave it. And underneath, I'm going to put my business card. And I want to write on the business card, this isn't your ball, but I could be.
It's not too often somebody gets me to laugh uncontrollably like that, but between what you said and the look on your face when you said it, I mean,
it's a good place to pick up.
It feels like a bad Valentine's Day card.
Man.
So if you stumbled across
this is not your ball, but if you'd like a fair way to get a better deal on your insurance,
I could be, and obviously my last name is Ball.
Right.
So,
okay.
Is that not what you put?
For some reason,
that's the punchline.
Yeah, no, that's the punchline.
But okay. I could be, your
I'm
ball.
Not your ball, but I could be. Okay.
And then you pick up my business card, and hopefully they get the joke by, catching my last name on there. So here's the thing about marketing: people think it's about being on. It's not. It's about standing out. And so possibly, it's kind of like it's the golden retriever theory of like all press is good press, right? Bad or good. So that might really annoy somebody, although they do get a free golf ball out of it.
Yeah, they get a free golf ball out of it. Of course, your
golf
golf ball is probably going to be stamped with the logo and everything too, right?
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
But, do they shred my business card, whatever? They're not going to forget that there is a dude with the last name of Ball who does this business.
Right. It actually doesn't hurt. Things like that, just putting your card anywhere. Is it going to drum up business every time? Of course not.
No.
But if it gets you one out of every 50, it pays for itself.
Well, marketing, the selling point is just always impressions. And I'm like, well, I think that's a more quality impression than did my ad pop up while you're playing chess on your iPhone. I'm trying to think of now funny ways. So how long have you been at Kia? And what are some funny advertisings we could do with Kia? Like, Fortes as a brand or a model.
Well, the only problem with that is Forte doesn't exist anymore.
What?
They morphed the Forte into the K4. So they're going for a little bit more of a worldwide branding because around the world, a lot of Kia models have just a K number designation.
Huh.
So we now have the K4, which is basically the redesigned Forte.
What made them do that?
Just recognition.
Interesting.
Easier to say K4 than Forte probably. And also that's a slogan you can put on a car, a decal you can put on the vehicle in any country, in any language. Just have that there. But I'll be there 11 years in May.
Wow. Yeah. I was thinking about that last night too, where I was like, there's typically longevity in that career either means you enjoy being miserable or you're doing well. Right?
Well, probably a little bit of combination of both.
Sure.
I mean, I've been there a while. I get a lot of repeat and referral business. I'm not the top salesman every month because the last ownership group that bought us out in 2020 and the management team they brought in has done an excellent job of minimizing the turnover. Car sales is notorious for, I'm doing okay here this year, but next year I think Toyota is going to be hot. So I'm going to go switch to a Toyota store. Then 2 years after that, they want to go to a Honda store. Right. And sometimes a year can be generous.
This week I sold zero Toyotas.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But they've really helped because with me there 11 years, there's another guy that's been there 5 years. There's another guy that's working on 4 years. And there's another guy who left for a while and then came back, and you put his time together, he's looking at like 5 years too.
Yeah.
So when
good
you have
for them.
Yeah, and when you have that kind of cohesiveness in a sales unit, it doesn't matter, who's good and all that. It's going to fluctuate month to month. I'm happy with what I do. I think I have a little bit different technique that wins me a lot of customers and does get me a lot of repeat and referrals.
Do you want to share that technique or is that proprietary?
Well, no, I mean, I just try to be different. Yeah. I always want to be there. I always tell people if they got a question about a feature or function or something down the road, you've got my cell. If I don't answer because I'm busy, I'll return your call as soon as I can.
Yeah.
And if I'm in the middle of something, like when we took vacation last year and I told Mickey, I said, look, I will not be, the guy at work while we're on vacation. I said, I'll just check my emails, whatever, like once a day, and I'll only respond to stuff that's important. And I think it was 3 times. And 2 of the times I contacted the person and said, I want you to call such and such. Here's their number. I'll text them and let them know you're calling.
Yeah.
That way they could help with the question.
Yeah.
So because, I promised the family that, hey, I'm here on vacation to enjoy the vacation and not bring work with me.
Yeah.
But I do like to be there to help out and reach out to people as best I can and follow up with them and just try to make it, no pressure. Now, there's always the joke we have in the car sales and people talk about, it's such a grind to go shopping for a car and this and that. Sticker is quicker. You go to Walmart, you load up your milk, your jeans, everything else you buy, you scan it through, it gets done. What do? You stick your card in and you pay, right? Have you ever scanned everything at Walmart and called the manager over and said, this total is $152.18?
Okay.
I'm thinking more $135 today.
To give a break to us consumers here, have groceries ever been negotiable? I mean,
how did cars become negotiable?
That's a great question.
How did houses become negotiable?
Who let that happen?
Right. Who let that happen?
Yeah.
Now, and everybody thinks, they're always ripping us off. The more expensive a car is, the more you make.
Yeah.
Usually the more expensive a car is, the smaller the gap between MSRP and invoice is.
Yep.
And we're just trying to make a living like everybody else. So what I always tell people, yes, I know you want a good deal. Yes, I know you want the best value in your trade. But once we show you all those numbers up front, that's it.
Right.
Kia of Columbia, middle of the state, not the biggest metropolitan area in the state of Missouri, but we're building our volume and competing against the bigger markets in the state because of the huge discounts we're putting on there. And that's the discounts you get regardless. It doesn't matter what your credit is. It doesn't matter if you're taking a rebate or not. You're getting that discount. And then people, how about another $2,000 off? Why? Where did you come up with that? don't I have a right to make a living too?
This episode is brought to you by Airlink. Airlink. Since 2011, Airlink Broadband of Salisbury has been powering homes and businesses around here with fast and dependable internet. The goal of Airlink here is to bring you and our communities the kind of internet service that makes your life easier, smoother, and makes your life more enjoyable. Curious if Airlink is available to you? Head on over to getairlink.com. That's get getairlink.com, or head over to the Airlink Facebook page that we'll link below. Airlink Broadband, great quality, local service, future facing. Let them prove it to you today. Yeah, well, and I guess you commend the bravery, right? Because I don't have the stones to just be like, how about less? I don't have the stones to sneak like candy into a movie theater kind of thing. So, for me, I usually, and again, something I say a lot is values and the alternatives, right? So in their position, like, do you need a car or not, right? Do you want to buy this car or not? Do you have another one that you want to go buy cheaper for $2,000? Sure, go do it.
Right.
If you want to take another full Saturday to go do that, sure, go do it. So, yeah.
Okay.
But it's 11 years.
Yep, be 11 years in May.
You think it'll be your last job?
Well, I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I haven't won the lottery yet. So.
No.
Got to keep going in.
That's a decent retirement plan. Let's, keep playing the lottery. Do you plan to retire? Are you that kind of person who wants to stop or?
Well, I don't know if I'll ever be able to at this point. With a few career changes in the past, I'm building up a little bit of retirement, a little bit of nest egg, but don't have the greatest so far. I've joked with Mickey before that, after I die, go ahead and embalm me and rent me out to a haunted house for Halloween for a few years so I keep the income coming in. Okay, all right. Because they can't tax me anymore. I'm dead.
That's well, yeah. They'll find a way to tax Mickey though, but
well, probably. Yeah. But there's always ways.
No national politics.
Yeah.
Start yelling about taxes.
We won't do the politics. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I was preparing for you, and again, thank you for coming on. It means a lot to me. I've wanted to talk to you for a while, but it feels like I've been doing this for like 2 weeks and 2 years, but it's only been about 6-7 months. But that hurt to say. But I was just thinking about like my relationship, like how I view you, and then probably how people like you have viewed me. So for me, I grew up with your kids. You've always been the voice of Fayette and the dad of my friends. And then there's that kind of progression that I've had in this time with a lot of people where I've gone from your kid's friend to, he owns a business here now, and we have a adult relationship now. Right. And many people have been gracious to not remember me as the little rat-nosed, high schooler that I was.
Well, whenever somebody, moves on and continues their, growing into their adulthood and going into their business, you can still remember what they were like as a kid and all that, but you also have to say, hey, now they have this business, they have this career, and how are they handling that?
Yeah. Well, and hopefully you guys go, well, I've changed, so we're going to let this kid change too, over the years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And people have been very good to me in that sense. I remember I met with some of my like high school football coaches, and I just think at one point I was like, are we cool? Are we cool?
Right.
But my long monologue to get there, though, is I really don't know a lot about you. I just had this random thought. I can't remember who won worst car, but it was between me and Nikki in high school.
Oh, yeah.
What was his car? I think it was epic.
He had that
big black one.
Yeah, that was a what was that? That was an 87 Fifth Avenue.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah, I think it was an 87, but it was a Fifth Avenue, Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
1987 Chrysler Fifth Avenue. And it had like red interior.
Had black exterior, red interior.
Yes. Cody, bring up a picture of this in your edit. Dude, they are, so cool. So cool. Yeah. It looked like that.
Yep, that's it.
Anyway, all that to say, I don't know a lot about you. I don't know how you got here. So start where you want to start. You're not from here. Or
not
you weren't
originally,
born here.
No, not born here, but I consider myself a Fayette native.
Yeah. I almost just said Fayette native or Fayette naman, whatever we call it. I call them Fayetians or anything like that. But anyway, so take me back as far as you want to take me back.
I was born in St. Louis. My parents met at a university in Missouri, and then Dad's career had him start in St. Louis. my dad, when he was working, he was like a ergonomics engineer. So he would work with assembly line plants on how to make so many more products per day, how to make somebody faster. I remember one time in high school, he was even bringing videotapes home. He would videotape people working, and he would say something like, "Hey, Landon, I notice every 2 things you put together, you'd take time to scratch your nose and scratch your cheek. Why don't you just physically count in your head, do 5 before you scratch your nose?" And then that person would be making 10 more products per day.
Dude, he's just watching film on people working?
Yeah, he would do things like that.
That's awesome. There should be more of that.
So he would, but we relocated a couple times when I was young. And then when I was 4, we settled in Howard County. Well, started to settle in Howard County on County Road V between Armstrong and Glasgow.
I don't even know where that is.
It's in Armstrong. It's a left, and it takes you to the north side of Glasgow.
Okay.
And it was in the Glasgow School District. I went to kindergarten in Glasgow. Something happened with one of my sisters that I can't remember the full story, but my mom wasn't happy with the Glasgow School District, and the house at the Stroop Farm in Armstrong became available for rent. So then we moved there. So we would be in the Fayette School District. And I started first grade there. And in the house my dad was trying to buy in Fayette, they finally got all that worked out. And like halfway through my first grade year, we moved into Fayette on Watts Avenue, literally 2 houses behind the elementary school, the old elementary school there, grade 1 through 4. I mean, I could sit there in my kitchen and just wait for the bell to ring and walk to class and not be late.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so we lived there on Watts Avenue. So we moved there, and I was in first grade. And then after my 8th grade year, my dad got a job offer up in northern Iowa. And so him and my mom and my second sister, Michelle, also Mickey. That's her nickname, Mickey. So
no way.
Confuses all.
That's awesome.
Well, her name's Michelle, but her nickname's always been Mickey. And she moved up here with us because she wasn't sure where she was going to do college and everything yet. And so we moved up to northern Iowa, a little town called Eldora. Great little town. I still have some friends up there in that area. And then halfway through my junior year, my dad said, "Hey, I got a job offer down in Tennessee. We're going to be going down there." I'm like, I do not want to start another high school. So I moved back to Fayette and lived with my older sister, Marcia, for the rest of my junior year. And then Dad ended up getting a job back with National Garment in Fayette, relocated back to Fayette. So my senior year. And then I took a year off between high school and college. I lived down in Branson. I had a job at Silver City, and then I also got a job acting in the Passion play that used to be on the Strip in Branson.
No way.
Did some stunt work and some other stuff on there.
Was that like the trajectory for you out of high school was in acting, or what was your...
Well, no, I wanted to be, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a veterinarian. The way I love animals, and I had a scholarship to go to what was then Northeast. It's Truman now, but it was Northeast.
Yep.
And I told Mom, I said, I just don't know what I want to do. And she said, take some time, think about it. So I got a job offer from Silver City, and then found another job. And I got down there to have 2 jobs, keep myself busy. And then while I was there, I started dating a girl whose grandmother and uncle were high-ranking administrators at what was then called School of the Ozarks.
Yes.
And I went there.
What's it called now?
The college is called College of the Ozarks.
Right.
And School of the Ozarks, they started a first through high school or something, a little private school.
That's the one where you like work for your tuition.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And when I started there, you worked for everything. Yeah. You get paid for everything. And then some things happened the last couple of years. There were a couple of people that went to school there and were lawyers and kind of did a suit against ours. That's a story for another time.
Nice. I love the lawyer world that we live in, don't you?
Yeah. But I liked the idea of that school. So I got in there and decided I wanted to be a teacher. And so I did a double major in English and theater and was going to do my teaching certification. In the meantime, I met Mickey. And
where?
At school. She came to College of the Ozarks also. And I started in 1986 after I took a year off. She started in 1988, literally the day after she graduated high school, because they used to have a summer semester. It's just something they used to have there to help make up for the classes. Yeah. And so she literally did her high school graduation on a Sunday. Somebody in the family drove her down there, and then Monday we started classes for the summer semester.
Where was she from?
Springfield.
Okay.
Yep, she's from Springfield. And but I finished my 2 degrees in English and theater, and I graduated, and I had to do one more semester for student teaching. and I had a job offer from a restaurant chain that opened up a spot in Branson, Captain D's. Mickey was pregnant, and there was no waiting for their insurance. So what won that? What won that battle in my head? Because I've always been a worker. I've always kept busy. So then I decided to take that job and just never went back. And just from there, just kind of went on. See, when I was a kid growing up here, I don't know how I should have edited myself on this, but when we moved to Fayette, Dad was working what used to be called National Garment Company.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know a lot about that. I don't know if you want to give me the history on
where it
that
is
yet.
down here.
Is that Addison
Yeah,
Labs?
where Addison Labs is.
Gotcha.
They used to make, they made clothing, shirts and pants and stuff like that. They did a lot of stuff for toddlers and youth. And there also used to be a place in Boonville called Artex, because for a while, Dad did leave National Garment, went to Artex, and they made like jerseys, practice jerseys for college football teams and stuff like that. Now I can't remember where I was.
Well, you were said, I don't know how I should edit my childhood, and you started to talk about
Fayette. Oh yeah. So even though Mom and Dad, so Dad worked, National Garment, and but they ended up buying a restaurant. We used to own a restaurant on the square, and then Mom and Dad owned the movie theater on the square for a while, and then we even had a pinball place.
What in the world? Okay, what restaurant?
Okay, so on the new side of what us people call the new side of the square.
Yes.
Where you remember where the Pizza Hut used to be?
Yeah.
Okay, that used to be the Foland Gas Slide Inn. It was something else before that too, but Mom and Dad bought it and decided to do, just your basic, meat and potato, coffee and biscuits in the morning.
Oh, I would kill for that right now.
And so that's how come I grew up, I was young. I was washing dishes there for, $1.75 an hour.
Yeah.
During school breaks, Dad had made a modified hot glove for me so I could help cook, because I was too short, being, 7, 8 years old. I couldn't reach the back of the griddle for flipping eggs and hash browns, so I could actually put my hand on the griddle and then reach back there and flip stuff.
Awesome.
And then we had the movie theater for a few years that used to be here in town. Now on that.
Where was that?
Okay, that's on the side of the square where Commercial Trust is.
Okay.
And that new part of Commercial Trust, you look at Commercial Trust to the right. I don't know if you look, you can actually tell.
Like elevator?
This part seems newer and everything. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so the Grand Theater used to be there. And when I heard that Jay Jacobs and the bank were working on trying to buy that to expand, of course, this is the days before cell phones and social media and everything. By the time I heard about it, I tried to contact the state of Missouri National Place of Historic, buildings and all that to try to get it saved. It was too late. Contracts were already signed. But at the time, it was the oldest movie theater west of the Mississippi that was built to be a movie theater and had always been a movie theater.
Really?
Yeah.
And this wasn't that long ago. We're talking late 80s or no, early 80s,
It was,
I guess.
let's see, when did Jay, it was early, I think it was early 90s. It was like 90 or 91, I think, when I did that.
So you weren't in high school at that point. You were.
No, I was done in college.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Grant actually did relocate for a while and just went further down where like McNann's was.
Yes. Yeah.
They just relocated down there for a while. And of course, that does
have pictures of that?
Gosh, I don't know. We'd have to check. We'd probably have to check with Justin in the newspaper archives for something
I'll
like
Google
that.
it real quick. What was the name of it?
It was just called the Grand Theater.
The Grand Theater, Fayette.
And then we even had a pinball.
I mean, it knows that it's permanently closed. Google knows that.
Right.
Is this what it looks like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Wow. Cody, I'll send you this link so you can put this picture up. Because that is like the classic V sign,
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. Yep. Next to commercial. Man, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
I'll send this to you, Cody.
Yep. And it was so fun, even though I was young, helping, I learned how to run the old projectors with the old guy that used to work there. And of course I knew how to do the popcorn and everything else. And how of course, we very rarely could get first run movies.
Yeah.
We usually got them after they'd been out for a while.
Sure.
And then some movies would do so well in this little town.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do, it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, and a Sunday matinee. Was the show. Very rarely we ever broke from that pattern. Sometimes, like during the holiday season, they would do like a Saturday matinee of a family movie where you donate 2 cans of food or something like that. But like Bobby Deerfield was an Al Pacino Oscar-winning movie. Brought it into Fayette. My dad lost money.
Really?
Brought in Smokey and the Bandit, and it stayed for a month. In a town of,
we're simple people here, okay?
Right. In a town of 4,000 at the time. I mean, there were people coming to see Smokey and the Bandit every
And
night.
Killer Diller probably stuck around a little bit too.
Yeah, I don't think the theater was.
That was later on. Yeah, that was much later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, I'm going to read it. Opened in 1913 as the Alamo Theater.
Yep.
It became the Dickinson Theater in early June of 1930. When the Dickinson Theater's chain took over in 39, it was renamed the Fayette Theater. Seated listing at 450 people.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Operated by the H.J. Griffith Theaters Inc. chain from July 24th, 1960. It operated as the Grand Theater and closed in the spring of 92. It was demolished and the site was merged into an adjacent bank. Wow. That is a sweet looking picture. Cody, if you find more pictures, put those up in the middle of that. But anyway, so your parents owned the Grand Theater.
We owned it for what did we own the theater for? 5 years or so, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That's very cool.
76 or so to when we moved to Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember we had Star Wars there even after it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
Dude, you could go play Star Wars now at that, and I would show up in the theaters. So, I mean, not the last three. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the very last trilogy that came out?
Oh, I still like it. No matter how much forethought you do, when you go to do something later, there's going to be, continuity wise, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I know people give some of the different characters a hard time, but it is what it is for what it needed to be. I thought it wrapped up some of the storyline real good. I wasn't really happy with Kylo Ren. Can't think of that actor's name now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
he's one of my favorites.
And I know
not in that, but in other things. But.
And he's done Adam Driver.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's done good in other things.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't know, Kylo Ren just came across as a spoiled, petulant brat.
Yeah, that's what they felt like they were trying to do with the character. And I thought Adam Driver, I was like, I guess that's what he was told to be doing.
Yeah.
But I honestly thought, did you ever see the SNL skit where he played Kylo Ren?
I think
where he's like, my name's Matt and I'm a radar technician. Like he pretends to be a radar technician.
I think I saw that
super funny SNL skit. That was more believable than him falling in love with Rey at the end and all that stuff. But no, it's amazing how people all of a sudden become movie critics and really smart and the timeline of the saga whenever they haven't followed a thing forever. It's just fun to hop on that bandwagon. Kind of like hating the Super Bowl halftime show. You know what? I'm not going to watch any NFL this year, but that halftime show, I'm going to show up and be critical of it.
Right.
But I really love the Mandalorian series. I wish I could go back in time and watch that for the first time. That was fun to watch. Yeah. I think they're coming out with a movie now.
Yeah, a movie's coming out.
Yep.
I'm not sure, I can't remember the release date. It's supposed to be this year or next year.
They whiff when they don't put it on May the 4th. Why is it not on May the 4th? Every Star Wars movie release should be on that date. Right. I think it's May 22nd or something like that. Mandalorian movie.
But then, so where was I? So meeting Mickey in Springfield and all that. And then I had a chance
May 22nd.
I had a chance to relocate to a Columbia store. So we relocated. We moved back to Fayette in 93.
Okay.
And I've been
this
here.
was with the restaurant you were working at?
Yeah, I was with Captain D's.
Captain
They
D's.
offered me a chance at a Columbia location. Okay. I took it so we could move in Fayette because Mom and Dad had actually just moved out of the house that they owned inside Fayette city limits. And so we were renting that from them and moved back there in 93. And between that and the place we're at now, we've been here ever since.
Why did you want to come back? Parents?
No, they had moved. I think they went to Tennessee at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, Dad's job sometime kept him hopping from town to town, state to state. I just like the small town life. I've never been. I mean, I like going to big cities and visiting and doing what I need to do there.
Yeah.
But I just never wanted to really live there. And Springfield was a pretty big town, and that was a chance. And you got to realize the culture shock it gave to Mickey. Growing up in Springfield, Branson, even though it's a small town. It was after it really had boomed to where there was always businesses open.
I mean, don't they call that the Vegas of the Midwest?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah. And so the first, so I took vacation so we could move everything up to Fayette because, Novy Eric was a toddler at the time, a baby actually at the time, not even a toddler yet. And so the first day I went to work, again, before cell phones and all that kind of stuff, I get home 9 o'clock at night and she said, Novy'd been sick, gone through extra diapers. we need to get some diapers. I said, I'm not going back to Columbia. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, there's no place. This is before Casey's was even had long hours.
Yeah.
I said, there's no place open. What do you mean there's no place open? I said, I'm telling you, there's no place open. And, that was quite the culture shock for her at first. And for a long time, she wasn't the happiest being here in Fayette.
What did we do? Did you get more diapers or not?
I cannot remember if we made it through the night or if I might have gone to Boonville because, Boonville had the Walmart.
Did they at that point?
Yeah, they still had the Walmart at that point. It was in a different location then.
Wonder what I would do if that happened to me right now. Like, how resourceful would I be? Would I just like wrap him up and, some T-shirts that I needed to throw out anyway? I don't know. Right. Or just dunk him in the toilet every time. Not the toilet, the bathtub. Anyway, sorry, not good parenting advice. Yeah. But anyway, keep going. Okay. So you come back to Fayette.
Yeah,
because you wanted to.
Really. Yeah, because I wanted to.
Yeah. Because there wasn't what's the name of the restaurant?
Well, it's Captain D's.
Captain D's. There wasn't a Captain D's in Fayette, but there was in Columbia.
Right. Right.
And you wanted to raise your family here. That was the.
I wanted to raise my family in this area, and then just had different jobs throughout. Then I've always had at least one job. I've just always stayed busy. And just one thing led to another thing. Of course, I was in the restaurant business again for a while with Taco Bell, and then I ran CNR for a while. All the different odd jobs, late night jobs. And here's one I might, blow you away. You probably didn't realize, but for a while, I even worked at adult shop in Boonville.
I did not know that.
Yeah, just overnights, a couple nights.
Was it
a
like
week.
A sales job? Did you get commission
on some of the products? Yes.
No way.
Yeah, it was hourly pay and a commission on some things. And it's because the manager from that place would come over and eat at Taco Bell, and he was in there. Yeah. He just looked terrible one day, and I was like, "Man, are you okay?" And he goes, "I'm working on these." He goes, "I can't find anybody to work the overnights." And he goes, "Man, that's like the easiest shift in the world." I'm like, "Really?" And it just kind of just started off kind of as a hoot. It's like, can I help you out so you can get a couple nights of sleep?
Yeah.
And then I think it was for a year and a half, I worked.
Are those profitable enough to be open 24 hours?
Well, they were more at the time. Now that there's so much more street, you got to remember this would have been
pre-internet.
Well, it wasn't pre-internet. This was early 2000s, but it's before that. You could just punch up so many things easily on your phone or tablet.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't hold your dial-up massive computer in your hand, in your bed. Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're not 24 hours anymore.
No, but so they were seriously. I've always just been convinced that them and Mattress Firm are just a money laundering scheme. I can't imagine. How do they afford all those billboards on I-70? Those are not, unless they own them all.
Yeah.
But so back in the day though, were you busy in the overnight shift?
Sometimes.
My gosh.
You'd have the occasional bachelor party or bachelorette party that would want to come in there and raise a little hell. And
were you did you make good sales? You got commission on some products. Did that incentivize you to go sell them? And we can hop off this if you want.
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about it too much more. But
okay.
No, you just do what the customer wants.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
I think I did that for a year and a half.
Okay, and then what?
Let's see. After that, I worked with CMMG for a while and helped them assembly stuff. Of course, I worked up at Quick's Crest for a while on the overnights, and then
you're just doing everything.
Yeah. I've done a lot of different stuff throughout the years. Like I said, Sword Art City. I worked a couple of the rides. I worked the train for a while. I did the professional acting gig on the Passion Play.
Was some of all these career moves that you had, were a lot of them dictated by what was going on in kids' lives and your family's lives, or was it more what you were interested in at the time?
Sometimes sometimes it was a better opportunity. Sometimes a mistake was made. That would lead to having to, start over.
Gotcha.
It's just the way it is. And the whole thing with selling cars actually was a fluke after I left CNR unceremoniously. And,
unceremoniously?
In the fall of 2014, I went right to Columbia because it was November.
Yeah.
Everybody needs Christmas help.
Yep.
So I started applying to a bunch of places, and a Dollar Tree and Dick's Sporting Goods offered me positions full-time and were willing to work around each other's schedules. So I'd be working 80 hours a week, sleeping in the car a lot in Columbia and not coming home and stuff like that. But it was something to get going. Dollar Tree, after the Christmas season, said they wanted me to run the Boonville store when they got done billing it, but they couldn't offer me any hours or pay to keep me interested until it was ready.
Interesting.
And then Dick's, said, "Hey, I'll give you as many shifts as I can until you find something else." He goes, "I just don't have any openings for management now."
Yeah.
And I took a job back with the Taco Bell franchisee out of Columbia, Donovan Enterprises, because I knew them.
Yeah.
I was with Border
Which
Enterprises.
Taco Bell is that one?
They own all the Taco Bells in Columbia and some of the other areas. And so he put me in a store. I showed him I remembered how to do everything and learned all the new stuff. And then he offered me a location in a different town. I would be able to commute. It would have been a long commute. And with my experience, I thought it was a little bit of a low shot. And I'd actually won an oil change to what was then Head Motor Company. And so after I got done with it, and he goes, you got a week to think about it. Now, of course, the one thing with him, even though I thought the pay was a little bit of a low blow, the benefits were outstanding at the time. And so I said, well, I'll just go by Kia and see if they have to have an opening. They did. They were getting an oil change done, and one of the two brothers that was running it, Stuart Head, you see people in service, sometimes you hit them up, try to make a sale.
Yeah.
And see, I had a 2003 Kia Spectra, and here we are. This is 2015. I still owned it. It'd been through a couple of hailstorms, a couple of deer strikes, looked like garbage, but drove great. And he saw me sitting there and he goes, hey, I saw your car out there. You really need to trade that in. And I said, well, I'm kind of in the middle of a career flux right now, and I've got a job offer that's not exactly thrilling me, so probably not a good time to take on a car payment. I said, really? Why don't you grab a cup of coffee and come with me? And he took me into his office. We talked for 90 minutes.
Wow.
I stood up, shook his hand, said, I'll be back in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, I walked in. He was up at the front door waiting for me.
Wow.
And I did some training and been there ever since. I just jumped in there a whole hog. So it was just kind of a fluke.
Yeah.
Owning a Kia and getting an oil change there that led to the position.
Yeah. I love that, though. That's sweet. And now you've been there 11 years. So you landed, I would say, right?
Yeah.
You stuck your feet. So
I'd stuck the landing so far anyway.
Meanwhile, Mickey's been cutting hair since...
boy, she's going to be mad at me if I don't remember it exactly. It's been 20, it's over 20 years.
Yeah.
25 years?
Well, Nikki would be 31 now, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
I'm just giving you reference anchor points to get to this. Well,
I was at Taco Bell in Fayette when she was getting ready to start the cosmetology school. I mean, when Mickey puts her mind to something, I mean, it's incredible because she was working the convenience store, the fast lane that used to be the fast lane Taco Bell combination. And she came over to me one day and over at the counter, she goes, hey, just want to let you know, I decided to go to cosmetology school. I've already applied to this one in Columbia and I've got my grants and everything all lined up. And I was like, oh, okay.
You said, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was at the Boonville Taco Bell by the time she finished. So that would have been at least 2004. So I want to say it's been 21 years this year that she's been doing hair. And, she started there with Peacock, and then Sharon offered to, sell it to her. And then, of course, we moved it in 2019 because I knew that other building was going. Yeah. I knew it. I knew we had to get moved. And plus.
Who owned it at that point, the building?
Oh, gosh. It was out of Columbia. I cannot remember the name of the management group at all, but they really didn't care.
Yeah.
To them, it was just a way to make money off the rent. I mean, you got to realize there were sometimes at that old location, if a toilet overflowed in the apartment above, the water would come down through Mickey's lights.
Oh, yeah. Oh, through the lights.
Yeah. Yeah. It would come down through those big lights in the ceiling. And also, I used to get my hair cut there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, they had, 6 stations. And it seemed like it was always busy.
It was
there was always somebody
iconic,
there.
classy space.
But a lot of the thing that used to be done, it used to be such a thing, the ladies would get their hair washed and set and styled, once a week, and the men would get their hair shortly clipped every 2 weeks.
Yep.
That's faded out.
Yeah, it's not a thing anymore.
There's not that many that do the weekly rinse and sets anymore. And the men, may still get their hair cut routinely, but it's not quite as often. It's okay to have a little bit longer hair. And she just didn't need that much space anymore. I mean, it was down to just her and Kay.
Yeah.
So having that big of a space just didn't make any sense anyway.
I kind of miss kind of that old culture of just I don't know. And it's not like it's like the 30s where it was all suits and, dresses and things like that. But yeah, just the tight upkeep all the time, or my grandma probably went there every 2 weeks for a perm would be my guess back in her heyday.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. No, I remember that. She one time bailed me out. So my mom would cut my hair in high school. And one time we're sitting there cutting hair. And I look down and the guard is in my hand.
Oh no.
And there is just a race car strip up the right side. And my mom's like, And I'm like, what's going on? And so I was like, it'll be fine. And then my mom's like, it is not fine. And so I think Mickey like met us either late or early in the morning at the store and had to do a big fade to like get it.
And I'm sure she remembers it. It's amazing how well she remembers stuff.
Oh yeah. So, well, tell me about like living in Fayette over all those years, raising two boys and, right? Two boys?
Yep. Two. We had a girl that we lost. We had a girl first. We lost her. And she's actually here up in the Fayette Cemetery now. We moved her from Springfield to Fayette a few years ago.
I'm so sorry. I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Well, and look how many people, recently with my sister in the fire, how many people didn't realize that, Marcia and I were related.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss there. I don't know if you want. That was one of my thoughts, was if you wanted to talk anything about your relationship with her and growing up with her. But.
Well, she was a good big sister. Both of my sisters, were typical. They'd pick on me every now and then, but for the most part, the way Marcia was known for always going the extra step and caring for the disabled or the elderly or the sick, that started when she was young. When the way she would, babysit people or take care of me if she had to, when push came to shove, if she had to protect something, that's what she would do. That was my sister in a nutshell. And, she's been working, she worked that job for, so long. And of course the postal job, she just always, I think one thing my parents really did was really instill a good work ethic in all three of us. My other sister, Michelle's been a nurse her entire life.
Yeah.
And even with all the different job changes I've gone through, I've always tried to excel at what I do. I remember one time, I think it was junior high, I told Mom, it was before I decided about the veterinary medicine stuff. I told her I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And she said, you can be a garbage man if you want to, son. Just be the best damn one you can be.
And my mom used to say that to me too.
Yeah.
And love it. Whatever you do, love it and be great at it.
Right.
Well, I bet you guys were good at workers because your dad was like an assembly line efficiency guy. So he was probably sitting in the living room. He's like, you need to eat your spoon of cereal faster or something like that.
No, he wasn't that bad about it. But, he also does taxes. He thought taxes were fun to do. He got H&R Block certified because he thought it's fun.
I mean, once you figure it out, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever met an accountant who was like, I'm having a great time. I've never met anybody like that.
Yeah.
And if you do, hire them,
And, I don't know, probably just because growing up in a small town, and, the way I've really seen the culture change, when I was a kid, the maybe once a month trip to Columbia was something you look forward to.
Yeah.
Hey, can you come over to my house Sunday afternoon? No, it's the Columbia trip, because
Columbia Day.
You were going to Biscayne Mall, which you don't even know about.
Nope.
That's where Dick's and everything is now. It used to be the Biscayne Mall. That used to be the main mall.
Really?
In Columbia before Columbia Mall was built. Had a 3-plex movie theater. Camelot. Was it Camelot record store? I can't remember the record store. Of course, had a video arcade, or what at the time started pinball and eventually became, video games, and the different shopping you could do if you needed new shoes for school or clothes or whatever. And then by the time I became into high school, going to Columbia to cruise and party and go to midnight movies was becoming more common. And now it's, and anybody that worked in Columbia is like, wow, what a commute. You do that on a routine basis. And now how many of us live in Fayette and work in Columbia and don't think anything of it? So
but then when we do have to run errands, we're like, I don't want to go.
No, that is the one bad thing. Exactly. on my day off, or usually my day off is Wednesday, and then of course we're closed on Sundays, and it's like, oh God, I got to go to Columbia.
I don't want to. Everybody's bad at driving here.
Yeah. But I know people give small towns a hard time, and there's some things you're lacking. That's true. Or if you're going to go, sometimes you might have to spend a little bit more money on it. But I think the small town culture in the long run is better for raising a family. I think our school system is still doing a fairly good job. It was better. It got worse for a while. I think now it's building back up again.
Yeah.
I think it is getting better. Of course, keeping teachers these days is the hard thing. And a lot of that just has to do with the way the whole culture is shifted to where it's never my fault. It's always somebody else's fault. You can't discipline your kids, and I'm not saying that we need to take out a switch. I know Chuck and Lou even mentioned that, the one time she spanked Chase and she felt bad. Sometimes you got to discipline them, but, it does have to be done, within reason. It's the same way for schools, if a school's going to give your kid a detention, Don't get mad at the school.
Yeah.
Get mad at your kid for having to leave work to go pick them up because they couldn't ride the bus, and then find out what they did and work with them to make it better so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. I mean, I always hear people talk about it. Used to be you were more scared of going home than the principal when you were younger. And now, like, it turns into a like, all right, it's like your mom is your lawyer. And it's like, all right, go talk to the school for me. And then they duke it out.
When I was a kid, 1st through 4th grade, Jake Griner was the principal. That's Terry Bentley's dad.
Gotcha.
And he actually had a board with the holes drilled in it. So when he swung it, you could hear that.
He's got the aerodynamic in it.
It was coming towards God, and I had that thing connect with my backside a few times.
Yeah.
And I deserved it every time.
Yeah. I only got in trouble legitimately a couple of times. Funny enough, my now stepdad was my principal in middle school, Kevin Beeler.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And I think I've told this story before. He thought he got me once when it was my brother on like a login thing. And then we also had this like underground scheme. Nicky might have been a part of it. He was pretty well behaved, so he may not have. But there was this, everybody could turn your mechanical pencils into little guns is what we figured out. Like that shot staples. And so I remember like the day before everybody got in trouble is the day that I built one. Maybe I'm the guy who got everybody in trouble because I just wasn't good at hiding it. Because I am not, by the way. My mom, I think it worked, dude, because God's funny like that.
Right.
She used to pray that when I would lie, I would feel like I need to throw up, which is, have you ever watched Knives Out?
Yeah.
That's basically the premise of that actress. But I think, so I don't hide lies on my face very well. And I just remember like doing that. And then like 30 of us boys in the middle school principal's office and they put like it was a drug deal. Like they put all the mechanical pencils down that they had found that we had converted into little stapler shooters. So that, and then, dude, I think Caitlin Wells and I punched each other once in high school. So we both got in trouble for that. Caitlin, if you listen to this, you should clean me up, but we both got in trouble I think we just slugged each other both I think she hit me and I hit her back or something like that. So outside of that though, I never really got in trouble. I'm trying to think. I don't think I had like in-school suspension, detention. If I got detention, it's probably for like singing in class or being silly. But
and I think the one thing I really like about most of the time in small towns more than bigger towns is the longevity of stuff. I mean, you got to realize, my first year in band, 5th grade, was Skip Vandelik's first year teaching at Fayette.
Yeah.
And then it went all the way through to where, both
Skip was mine in middle school, and that's when he retired.
Right.
Yeah. So however long a gap that is, at least 30 years.
Right. And then a lot of the teachers that have been here for a long time. And it's kind of funny. Mickey and I joke about this too. When I was a kid growing up, everybody was Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and then Mickey doing the hair parlor with, doing the Peacock So Long with Sharon and Kay. And so she gets to know all these people on a first name basis. And sometimes she'll be talking about them. I'm like, I can't figure out who she's talking about. And then she'll say, Bob Johnson. I'm like, Mr. Johnson, it'll pop into my head who she's talking about because to me, I never knew them by their first name when I was a kid. And there's just so many things that are always here.
That seems to have changed though. I feel like the longevity of the career, like I feel like Fayette used to be a spot where maybe people would land and spend a long time in their career. Now it kind of feels like the school districts is kind of like your hopping pad to your next thing.
Yeah, definitely not as many doing the longevity.
Yeah. I mean, even for your son Novy to be he's in Keatsville. How long has he been there? It's a long time.
Well, he did Keatsville his first 2 years out of college, and then he came to Fayette for 2 years, and then Keatsville offered him a position back. So what's he been teaching now?
Been another 10 years at least.
10 years, I think. 11 years, yeah.
Wow.
Because now
that seems rare.
Yeah.
To be in one school district for that long, and I don't know if that's just culturally that we all move more now or what.
Right.
I don't know what.
Well, and again, it's one of those things with the computer, social media, making it a smaller and smaller world. I was thinking about that again with your Chuck and Lou, the last podcast, with them saying how they were just driving from town to town and going to schools. Hey, do you happen to have any positions? I was like, how bold was that for those days to not even find it in a trade newspaper that you can mail in your resume and wait for them to call you or contact you back. They're just going up to school. Hey,
dude, if anybody did that to me now, I think they're insane. I might call the cops.
Yeah. Why didn't you look it up on Indeed?
Yeah. Why don't you apply through the normal channels? I think I'm sitting here waiting for you. Yeah.
And in some ways, I think that's a downfall in a lot of ways too, though, because I'll tell you what, it cracks me up, and I'll see, not so much in Fayette being such a small town, but like some of the Columbia swap pages that you'll see on Facebook. Anybody hiring? Get off your butt and go find out.
Does this look like Google to you? I mean, like if you figured out the Facebook group thing, certainly you can figure out Indeed. Right. Yeah, I talked about that on one of my podcasts where I'll be like, all right, here's the link to apply, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll get DMs that are like, hey, here's my resume over Facebook Messenger. And I'm just like, I'm not accepting it here. I reject this.
Right.
Reject this. I've actually turned off all of my Facebook Messenger stuff because my life is better. I don't have any social media on my phone now. It is all on here. So,
right.
But you can't whip this out typically very easily when you need to be doing other things like raising babies or,
Right. And sometimes I tell myself the same thing. I'm like, just put it down, go do something else for a while. I think for a lot of people, reading more would definitely make a difference. We just have to, and don't feel like you've got to read War and Peace in a day, but just tell yourself, I'm going to take 15 minutes every day to just read a book, even if it's an e-reader or a physical book.
Yeah.
Just take 15 minutes. And at the end of the 15 minutes, if you want to finish the chapter, finish the chapter.
Yep.
I try to do that, but sometimes I forget for a while and I won't do it. And, because you got to find something you enjoy to read and just try to do a little reading that's not on your phone, even though I know you can get books on your phone.
Yep.
Just do some reading that's not on your phone.
You just chuck your phone across the living room and let it be.
Let
it be. Yeah. I think there's so much, probably a lot of mental health stuff that is not helped by the frequent. I mean, there's some people I know that like have every notification on their phone.
Oh yeah, I hardly have anything notified.
It's just like boom, 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 and I'm like, no wonder you're anxious. Like, your phone is constantly going.
Yeah, my phone will ring, my text will go. That's it. All other notifications. When I
how annoyed it is when your
I'll
dog is like licking itself loudly in quiet times, right? That's really annoying.
Yeah,
your phone's doing the same thing. It's like, no wonder you're PO'd all the time. Anyway, sorry, I'll get off my no national politics.
Yeah, well, no. That's really
you guys
so
are like
fun.
rock stars also, right? You go to a lot of concerts. What's your shirt?
I'm wearing a Joan Jett shirt today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mickey and I, it's one thing we've always had in common is our love of music. One of our first real dates, she started, like I said, then School of the Ozarks. See, when it became College of the Ozarks was 91. So my graduating class was the first one that had College of the Ozarks on the diploma. But she started there the summer of 88. We met, and I think we actually really started dating that fall during the production of Steel Magnolias. She not only did that for community theater here, but
very cool.
She did a Steel Magnolias, and I was the stage manager for that production. That's where we really got to know each other. And they used to have movies on campus at college because they didn't want you going off campus. Boy, they tried to narrow that down as much as they could.
I feel like it's a Christian school now.
Yeah,
was it also one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always been, very Presbyterian based. To where like when you're a freshman and sophomore, you can't even park on campus except on weekends. They have an off-campus parking lot, and you got to walk. And if you come in after the gates are locked, you better know how to sneak in. Or like I did since I worked at a Pizza Hut, if I knew I was going to be late, I would just bring a couple pizzas home. I'd walk right down the hill and the guards come up. There you go. I never got in trouble once for coming in late because I always had a pizza with me.
Dude, that's how you get the Christians.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we did a couple of movie dates there on campus, but then one of our first big real dates was a Joan Jett concert in Springfield at the Shrine Mosque. And ever since then, we love going to live music. Of course, we couldn't do it a whole lot, when you're younger and trying to build your career and raise your kids, the time away from home and the money and all that. But as the kids got older, we could start going more. Then, of course, once Novy and Nikki got out of the house, we could definitely start going more. I think it was Novy even mentioned one time, he said, man, you guys really going to a lot of concerts this year. And I said, I don't have to feed you anymore.
That's right, dude. I don't have to find a babysitter anymore either.
There was one year, 2017, he actually made shirts for us. He'd asked what all we had lined up to go to. And then he gave it to us right at Mother's Day, and it was like Mother's Day, Father's Day gift combined. It was Novy and Do You Want to Get Rocked? Novy and Mickey's 2017 concert tour, and on the back he had the dates of every concert we had bought tickets for.
That. Yeah. So cool.
What we've done with a lot of the shirts now, our closet's bursting. Now we like to try to buy merchandise, not only for the memories, but to help support the artist.
And
streaming doesn't pay crap.
No, and it might grow in value after a long while too. Maybe.
I mean, some of them do. Of course, the thing anymore with the way you can reproduce stuff, you don't know if the person really bought it there. It's just like a lot of the signed items I have. We didn't get them, it's not a certificate of authenticity didn't come with it. So are they going to be worth a little bit more? Yes, but they're not going to be worth a king's ransom or anything. Right. But so we started buying a lot of merchandise to try to help support the acts as much as we can. And we've actually had a lot of our older shirts turned into a couple of quilts. Very cool. And we probably have 3 paper grocery bags full of other shirts that we've just folded up and put in there. So we need to make these into quilts because the closets were just running out of room.
Do you guys quilt or do you send it
No,
somewhere?
I send it off to somebody I know, somebody I met that does it. And actually, well, one we got done by that and another one we got done by somebody local that we know. Because she just, took her a little bit longer because she was, still working her other job. And she made a big one. That one's huge. But yeah, it's something we've always enjoyed.
Either of you play any instruments or anything?
Well, I played growing up. I started on piano and some guitar lessons. And then with a band, I started on trumpet. When I moved to Iowa, they needed a tuba player. So I switched to tuba. And when I came back to Fayette.
When did you get tall? When were you tall?
Actually, I was a little bit below average size. Okay. And into junior high, I was right around average size. But between my freshman and sophomore year in Iowa, I put on 4 inches in 3 months.
Yeah, I was corn-fed Iowa.
I was the definition of growing pains. If people talk about growing pain,
I bet
my knees were killing me.
Yeah,
and I
feel like both your sons had that too.
One of the main teenage summer jobs up where I lived in northern Iowa was detasseling corn. Have you ever driven by a cornfield and you see the pattern? You'll see okay, it's because there's male and female corn, and if you want to have a certain type of corn grow, well, you detassel all of the female corn, so just the male corn is pollinating the female corn because female can pollinate female.
Dude, I did not know that corn had gender.
So you basically just walk and pull. I don't know if it's male, female, but I know that's something to do with a different type of pollination. Yeah. And so you just basically walk and pull those tassels off of the top. And they paid you, for that. And the length of some of those, I thought I knew what a farm was till I moved up there. Holy crap.
Oh, no, dude. Northern Iowa is just cornfields.
Yeah. The first time I did it and they told me, I was like, yeah, I can do that for money. Heck yeah. Are you kidding? And we go out there and I said, so we're doing it. And they showed me, okay, so how far are we going? They're like, well, the telephone poles. I said, that's not far. They said, no, not those. Those. And there's
so you can't go no more.
And there's like this little speck in the distance. Some of these rows were a mile and a half, 2 miles long. It's like, holy crapolas.
Yep.
But, so that's when I really started getting tall was between my freshman and sophomore years. And
basically, you adapted. Survival of the fittest.
Right. And I played bass guitar a little bit too.
Sweet.
I think for me, I never decided to really focus on any particular thing. I mean, I was decent trumpet player. I was a pretty good tuba player. I did okay bass guitar for what I had to do, but I didn't really choose to focus on it. Now, when I was younger, I didn't fully understand, when you're a kid and you start learning how to play guitar, you want to start doing Eddie Van Halen's Eruption right away, and you can't. Nobody ever took the time to tell me, look, you have to learn these basics and here's how it all branches off of that. And I think if somebody had said that, I'd have gone, oh, maybe I would have been a little bit more patient and learned a little bit more. If I'd ever done anything music-wise, though, I think for me, it probably would have been, going in production or engineering.
Yeah.
Because I did a lot of that in college with the lighting soundboard at the theater. I learned to do a lot of that, and I did it here at some community theater as well. So I think, and Mickey, she's, kind of fiddled around with instruments a little bit, but never really learned to play anything. But
Novy was in percussion.
Novy's percussion.
Nicky was trombone. Oh, man. My memory is slowly coming back.
Nicky also taught himself to play keyboards.
Okay. Dude, that's right. Do you remember when we did the safety dance?
Yep. Yep, I do. I remember the safety dance.
Dude, if somebody has a video of that, certainly we can find a video of that.
Safety dance and the theme from The Office.
Then we've capped it off with an encore theme from The Office. But man, that was a wild time. Yeah. What a wild time. That was our senior year. I had a broken foot playing drums for that.
That was funny. I remember that. I remember that now, yeah.
Thomas and Kirby. Oh, man. Man, some good stuff.
Yep. You guys did good with that.
Where did Nicky go to college? I can't remember. Did he go a couple places?
He started at Truman State.
That's right.
And then he came down to Central.
I did the same thing then. Yeah.
And then after he got his bachelor's from Central, he went to he got a master's from
is it UMKC?
Yeah, I think it was UMKC, University of Missouri, Kansas City. And then after he got that master's, he decided, I really don't want to, I want to go into this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went to Fringe University for his
the name of the university is called Fringe.
It's Friends, like friends.
I thought you said Fringe.
No, friends, like I'm your friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you a funny story on that in just a minute. Okay. So then he went to Fringe University for the therapy and he got a certification and everything, and he lives in Kansas City, and he has his own office.
That's awesome.
In Kansas.
Kansas?
It's in Kansas. And because of some of the laws with where you're certified and your license and all that, he is going to get Missouri certified also. Because I forget, like he can do some people on Zoom and some people he can't. And,
interesting.
And he was scheduled to do it a few weeks ago, but then the bad weather and the ice and all that in Kansas City, and they canceled that test. So now he's got another one coming up, I think next month.
Okay.
So anyway, Fringe University. Okay. Not too long ago, they were Friends University of Central Kansas. You got it. And yeah. And the story that I was told. For
how long?
For quite a while. And I guess somebody finally realized on a shirt the way it spelled it out. So then they just changed it to Fringe University.
So silly.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Oh. Well, now what's your world filled up with? Selling cars.
Work, the occasional concert and stuff. Of course, Mickey and I have always had an affinity for animals, and we usually have special needs animals.
Are they all special needs?
No, they're not all special needs.
All your cats?
Well, two of the three cats are. Okay. Well, and the third one, the one normal one, just recently got diagnosed with a form of feline diabetes. And she is on a medication that usually has a good track history of causing remission, but I've got to keep her on it for like 6 months.
Gotcha.
And, if you've ever had a cat you've had to give oral medication to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a liquid.
At all.
I can just shoot it down her throat. She didn't like that. I tried putting it on her food, and Holly is smart. She would see me put it on her food, so she would just go knock Dizzy away from her bowl and try to eat Dizzy's food instead. So I've got to give it to her with the shooting it down her throat just to make sure she gets it. But two of our cats have got cerebellar hypoplasia, which is like cerebral palsy. Their muscles in their brain.
Yep.
Dizzy is moderate. She can walk. She walks funny. She walks like a drunken sailor.
Is that the black cat?
That's the black one.
Okay, I've seen videos.
Yep. And then the tabby that we got a couple years ago, Penny is severe. She doesn't walk very much at all. We keep her on a litter box schedule. Usually have to carry her around. We make sure she gets some exercise. We make her do some standing and some walking, but it's not unusual to put her someplace when you leave for the day and come back. She's in that same spot.
How did you stumble? Did you seek these cats out, or did you get sought out because you had experience in it?
Well, we had a couple other animals in the past that developed special needs as they got older. We've had, Novy Eric's dog was diabetic, and we had another dog that had Cushing's disease. I got a cat from a rescue in 2013 or 2014. I can't remember the year. But he had some crushed hips when he was younger, so he wasn't born with it, but his hips didn't heal properly. So he had to be on special food, and we had to keep an eye on him because of the way that his poop had to be a certain way. Otherwise, because his hips were compressed. But Valerie, Novy's wife, when she was finishing up her law degree, she would go to the Humane Society sometimes just to pet puppies and kitties and calm herself down from the stress. And she contacted me one day and she goes, "You need to come and check this cat out," because, they put, the Humane Society, they have the card with, how old they think they are and all this. And she said,
their war stories.
Right. And she said people would read the description and just move on. I'm like, oh. So I looked up what it was. I'm like, okay. So we go out there the next day to see her. And so we go into one of those little rooms, and I put Dizzy on the floor, and she just goes right over, grabs a hold of my leg and climbs up my jeans and puts herself in my lap. And I said, well, okay, I guess that decision's been made for us. Wow. And then for Penny, it was March 3 years ago. I just happened to see a post on a cerebellar hypoplasia page on Facebook that I'm on.
Isn't that crazy? Facebook, like any page you can think of, like niche, you're like, there's a group and there's thousands of people.
There's multiple groups.
Yeah.
Just all phrased differently. But I saw this one lady who does rescues said, "I'm going to take this one I've had for a while. I'm going to take her to our vet so more people can see her. She really needs a special home. And here's what's wrong with her and all that." So while I'm looking at that post, I get a text from Mickey. It's a screenshot of the exact same post. And I'm like, okay, so maybe this is meant to be. So I contact a lady, and I mean, they're one of those rescues that really made you go through the vetting process. We had to fill out an application. We had to, talk about our other animals that we have now and animals we've had in the past. And then she wanted to do a video call to see the other animals and the condition of the house.
Wow.
And then on my birthday in 2023, May 10th, 2023, I met her in Springfield because she was from Oklahoma. I met her in Springfield and brought Penny home. And then the dogs is just kind of the way we rescued them, because we knew they needed, now of course we just lost the one last month, Stormy. The diabetic blind one, he passed away last month.
Stormy?
He was the big golden. No, he was the big golden.
Oh, okay.
He was the big golden.
I don't think I knew you had a big golden.
Or, well, yellow lab, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Dude, losing dogs is... Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you don't realize just how, like, present they are in your life until they're not there. Right. And you're like, oh...
Well, losing him at any time is tough, but when we knew we knew he was developing some conditions that we were going to have to, down the road, is the medication worth it or not? But we didn't expect this kind of, this is literally overnight.
Jeez.
What happened? You always want to have time to gird yourself for it. But with him, we thought we were going to have another year and a half before we had to start preparing for the end. Instead, it was just, it was definitely tough. So we've got his sister still, who is, she's hyperthyroid. She's got hyperthyroidism, real bad arthritis already, and a degeneratively bad hip. And then
where does this stuff come from? Is it glyphosate vaccines? What are we talking about?
Just born that way. Well, again, as our technology and everything gets better and better, a lot of these dogs years ago would have died in their litter.
Yeah.
Or they would have been put to sleep because we didn't know what to do with them. But, it's kind of like the TV show Scrubs, in the first episode of that TV show Scrubs, when Dr. Cox says, let me tell you a secret, modern medicine's keeping people alive for a lot longer than they're meant to be. And in some cases that might be true. We can extend our lives only so long, but the end is coming.
Yeah. What's kind of your feelings around that? Like I'll give you a scenario. I think, I saw something stupid. Let's just say this is what it is. Let's say Coca-Cola, every Coca-Cola I have takes a week off my life.
Okay.
Are you the kind of person that goes, that's fine? Or, do you know what I'm saying? When people look at those decisions and go, yeah, I'm already going to live long enough. What's 1 week less at the end of my life? What's kind of your...
Right. Well, I don't know. They say those things like that. A lot of it is just your makeup.
Right.
Look at all the people that...
Yeah, can you really impact?
Right. Well, look at the way they're starting to think there might be a genetic marker to where you have to have the ability to even have cancer. Look at all the people that smoke and never develop lung cancer, but then the people that are exposed to secondhand smoke and die when they're, early 40s from, really bad stage lung cancer.
Yeah, or even just smog in the air.
Yeah, you've got to have, they're thinking you've got to have the genetic ability to even be able to have certain things. So, do I think you should run out in front of the street and see if a car is going to kill you or not? Well, no, of course not. And, as you get older, you do need to be healthier. And I think there is a lot... I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I don't think years ago some of these companies were thinking, oh, we need to put this sugar in this food and get these people hooked to it. It's the way they made it at the time.
Right.
And it just became what happened.
I think the only way I can hopefully think about it is think that these people weren't thinking, how can I ruin these people's lives?
Right. They were thinking, how can I make my food last longer on the shelf?
Or even, how can I improve the product because my customers like it this way? Right. I would hope that a lot of this stuff started with good intentions of, I want to make the Oreo. I don't think the Oreo was a psyop to ruin people's health.
No.
I'm sure it was the cookie lasts forever now. Oh, and then somebody years later was like, yeah, the cream isn't real. And it's like,
right. Yeah.
It never was.
So, but everything has to be in moderation. As I've gotten older, I hardly ever drink soda anymore.
Yeah.
Just because
I think a lot of it's dictated by, stress and just how you feel is a big important of your longevity too.
Right.
And there are, I used to be able to crush meals that now, I'll get an upset tummy thinking about it, and then I get stressed out about my upset stomach. And it's like, just I guess I have to eat a little bit healthier now, which it's fine. I hopefully have many years ahead. But also we do all that. And like you said, you just don't. You can't completely avoid the risk of existence and the lack thereof by eating healthy, right?
Right.
You can get caught by the stray car that decides to, run off the sidewalk, and the likelihood's low of that, but the risk elimination is not gone.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
With how many green vitamins that I take, So, no, I was just curious if that was, I don't think I've ever known you to be a superfood health nut, workout gym guy.
I should work out a little bit more.
I wouldn't fight you in an alley, but
I'm definitely not as strong as I used to be when I was working construction for a while and everything. I thought I was a little bit more strapping, but again, you get older and you get busy and you don't do the right kind of exercises. And it's one of those things you just have to make the time. It's kind of like the way with people talk about, minimum wage this and budget this and everything. We have more things in our life today that we think are necessities.
Oh, yeah.
And every generation, I think it keeps getting worse. It used to be you had you bought your TV and that was it.
Yeah, because a luxury once enjoyed becomes a necessity.
And then cable came along and it wasn't bad. And now we have satellite TV and streaming, or you had your landline in your house for $20 a month and you knew how much long distance rates were at different times. And now you've not only got a cell phone for $100 a month, but your wife and all your kids have one and you think it's a necessity. Is it really?
We just reversed went back to cable basically now. Yeah. Like with all the different streaming choices that you could choose, we just did a huge reverse back to cable. And now we're probably pretty soon being close to pay-per-view. Back to pay-per-view. Because how many of us really want to carry a $100 a month subscription for YouTube TV when all I do is watch the Chiefs game every Sunday? I haven't had a TV package since...
Well, see, but I like the local news and everything too, though.
Well, but you could get bunny ears and do that for free at that point too, technically. But for the Super Bowl, signed up for a free trial so we could watch it, turned it off. I seriously think they're honestly testing that too. Because remember how some games will be randomly on Peacock?
Yeah.
I think they're totally testing to go, are they willing to spend $15 to cancel their subscription the next day to watch the Chiefs? A lot of people are.
Yeah.
A lot of people are. Have you been to a game recently?
No, it's been a couple of years since we've been to a game.
Yeah.
I think. Was this 20?
Is the new Arrowhead happening? Is that for real?
Oh, yeah.
From what you understand?
Happen. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And, it's one of those things, a lot of people saying, Hunt would be turning over and is great. No, he's a businessman first.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking his son's made, the decision that was best for the team at the time. I think it's a shame they couldn't think of some other way to do it.
Yeah.
To keep them in Missouri.
Dude, let's bring somebody to Columbia. I mean, certainly we have the appetite for that, right?
There's no way we could do.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool, but there's just no way. And they're really not moving that far.
No,
the stadium's 20 minutes away from where it is now, or something like that, just on the other side of the river. They're still going to be called, the same. And
Kansas City Chiefs,
I've got a Kansas City Chiefs tattoo, so they cannot ever.
And everybody's still going to be a fan.
Yeah, they got to make sure they don't change that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's happening.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out a way to do that. I thought it was a crazy idea, but a neat idea at the same time when they said, we're going to come up with a way to put a roof on rails so they can put it over Arrowhead or Kaufman, or just park it in the middle if neither one of them needed the roof.
Are they moving both stadiums?
The Royals haven't decided yet. No, but see, that's one thing they thought about a few years ago to where they would be able to keep the Chiefs there and maybe get a Super Bowl and other stuff. Is if they had a roof to where it wouldn't be a full dome.
Or everybody quit being sissies and have a Super Bowl in Missouri in February. All right.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Right.
All right.
Are you kidding?
And wasn't the Super Bowl this past 2 weeks ago? Wasn't it 60 degrees here?
Yeah.
They'd have been fine.
Yeah, but you never know if it's going to be another ice bowl like we had a couple of years ago.
That's fun too. That would have been more fun to watch than the 8 field goals that got kicked for the first scores of the last game.
Hey, speaking of the Chiefs, I'm in I was in Travis Kelce comic book.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
From a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Did she make it? Make you make it? Or
no? My best friend in college, Mike Frizzell, is a professor at Missouri State University, and he also works for Tidal Wave Comics, where he does a lot of scripts for biographies of celebrities, presidents, and that kind of stuff. And when he got contracted to do Travis Kelce, and he contacted me and he goes, "Hey, I always try to do some kind of, human bend. You got to point me somewhere in the right direction. What do I do with Kelce?" And I said, you got to remember, he got in trouble in school and got kicked off the team. And it was his brother and coaches that helped him, get back and become what he is. And it was, okay, so there's my human bend, my humanity piece.
Yeah.
And so there was one page in the Travis Kelce comic book.
I thought that was AI. I thought
no, Mickey's got it down there to shop.
I thought she had like made that for you for like Christmas.
No,
like because you know like AI you can plug in play. I thought that's super cool.
She's got a copy down at the shop, and we've got a copy at home. And I've got a friend that kind of has connections with the Chiefs. I said, one of these days you got to set it up to where we get to meet Kelce and make sure he's got a copy of it, so I can sign one for him.
Dude, we should tell Kelce to come down here. Free ice cream, tour the town.
Yeah. Why not?
He'd come check on one of his club car washes, in Columbia. Stop by.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's get him.
Doesn't hurt to try.
Get him on the podcast. Hey. So do you know who Nate Bargatze is?
Yeah,
I'm going to watch him this weekend. I never reached out to him, but I don't know why I don't just take the shot and go, hey, if you're bored in Columbia on a Saturday in February, come on over here. We'll make you some ice cream.
All they can do is say no.
That's right, or ignore me, which that hurts.
It's like some of the different. Some of the different VIP meet and greets and stuff like that Mickey and I have done, and sometimes we don't have them. You just take something with you, and if you get lucky, you get it signed. One of the first celebrity autographs we got was Dennis D. Young. The used to be the lead singer and one of the founding members of Styx.
Yeah.
We saw him at the Boonville Casino in 2014 or 2015, and it was between our anniversary and her birthday, so I got us front row seats. And she had a vinyl copy, of course, we're into that. We've got all kinds of that. But she took his debut solo album, Desert Moon, with her. And at one point in the show, he said, I'm getting ready to do a song that I wrote for Styx, decided it wasn't right for Styx, so I put it on one of my solo albums. We knew it was going to be Desert Moon, and Mickey held it up, and he saw it, and he went, wow, you've got that on vinyl, come up here. And he signed it for her. That's
awesome.
Right there.
Yeah.
So, if we hadn't taken it, he could have just said no.
Right.
He could have said, I don't sign while I'm, or unless I get
It's kind of like when you go to a ball game as a kid and you bring your ball glove, like there's going to be 8 foul balls hit to you.
Right.
You just hope you get the off chance, and then it happens. So,
right.
Well, okay, let's wrap up here with you in your old age and wisdom now, looking at your years here and, Fayette, a town that you love, I think.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of the things that, in an encouraging light, things that you wish you could see differently in our town today.
Wow, that's a well thought out question, Landon. I like that.
I tried.
Well, you have to have change, and you still got to try to keep what you had before. And by that I mean, I know that there's quite a few places in here on the the Register of Historic Places, and there are some things that are worth saving.
Yeah,
there's some things that aren't. But there's some things about the Register of Historic Places needs to be changed. The pool really needs to update that pump and everything like that. And they're being told they can't do it because a new pump won't meet the requirement. People can't see it. It's in a spot where it can't be seen. Who cares
also,
if it's
we don't replace it? We can't swim here.
Right.
And then what's the point?
Right. There's quite a few houses on Main Street and some of the brick streets in town that need to be saved. But then there's others that, hey, if the best thing to do is to knock it, I know a lot of people wanted to try to save that north side of not the north side, that's the west side of the square. I had a lot of, emotional attachments to it too. Mom and dad owned the restaurant there. I used to go to the Peacock when I was a kid, and Mickey owned it at the time. But there was no saving that building. It was a goner. Knock it down and start over. But try to remember the past as best you can.
You feel like they did a good job with that?
I think they did a good job with it. I think they did a good job with it.
I think as good as you can.
Right. As good as could be done for the situation and what they're trying to accomplish. And then, Brandy bringing Lafayette back, however you want to phrase that. I think that was pretty neat that, that they did that. I think it's a nice little place.
Yeah.
And it's hard to take business risks in small towns. It most certainly is.
Yeah.
But, Fayette could use a few more businesses, of course, but it's tough to figure out what can be done in this town that makes sense to do it. Because if you're going to do a business in a small town like this, of course, it pretty much has to be your business where you're either the only working element or 90% of it.
Right.
If you do have to take time off or something like that, do you have a backup plan?
Right.
What you can do on that. So, I would like to see Fayette grow back a little bit more to how it used to be population-wise. When I first moved here back in the 70s, Fayette was actually just under 5,000 people.
Really?
I think the 1970 census was 4,880, I think is a number that's stuck in my head. So yeah, it was right around under 5,000. So, and there's a few things we have to do to modernize. Parking, of course, is a big issue in this town. Central Methodist was made at a time when you put your kid on a train or a carriage and sent them there until the school year was over. Then they came back home.
Back with the old MKT.
And now everybody has their own car that they bring. And, so I think almost like College of the Ozarks did, Central needs to use some of their land and make a parking area and basically tell freshmen, sophomores, or junior, whoever, this is where you park.
Right.
You do not park anywhere else. We don't care if it's closer to your dorm. We don't care if it's closer to your classes. Right. This is where you park.
Right.
That
way, that's why, I don't know if they have the same rule here, but like College of the Ozarks, I think Truman was the same way. You can't have a car on campus as a freshman, period.
Yeah, Truman. Yeah, Truman's that way too, right.
So, I don't know.
So it would be nice to see Fayette grow back a little bit more closer to what it used to be. I do see a few steps going that way that I think in the next 10 years, I think in the next 10 years, we'll find out. Yeah. Is Fayette going to grow just enough to keep going? Or is it going to start dying? I think the next 10 years is the tipping point for this town.
What's your gut say on that?
I think we'll make it.
I hope we do.
Yeah.
I am, there's so many different dominoes that you can pick, like, well, this needs to happen, and this needs to happen. And then you kind of get exhausted going through all the different possible, well, which one needs to happen first? I've been big on this needs to be a place where hopefully people can work here, because like a lot of people, the final brick for them is like, well, we don't have good highway systems. I don't know if you can fix that. Can you straighten out 240? I think that was one of JB's big, proposals was straightening out 240. Assuming that's the least likely of the possibilities, how do you make Fayette a place then that isn't a commuter city, but a place that can hold jobs and people work here?
And I don't think we'll ever have huge businesses like we used to have, like National Garment.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably a way to get something that employs between 25 to 50 people, and that might bring somebody else in.
I thought about wouldn't that be an epic headquarters here? Like they've got a huge customer service base, businesses like that, where you've got big customer, like just large employing jobs. Right. Doesn't have to be like epic manufacturing facilities. I think Glasgow has that knocked down for us, that and housing is, I want people to be able to graduate from Central and find a job here and find a place to live here.
Right.
And not just find a place to live, but find a place that they can maybe buy and, reinvest and flip these houses that are perfect for starter homes.
Right.
I think that's one of the bigger issues I've seen is you've got a lot of great starter homes that are available that if the starter people don't pick them up, they're picked up by, rental owners that are just like, I'll just pick up another one. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then there goes the charm. There goes even the investment ability in it because it probably gets worn down. So, I don't know. I hope we can make it. I'm nervous a little bit about taxes and what our city government does and does not do. That's the nicest way I can put it.
I think that's perfect.
You talked about Mickey just going, this is what I think, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, I've watched that. I've watched that happen.
Yep.
Which I appreciate that. But I hope we can make it. This is a town worth being in.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will start to say the businesses that we want, like we need to see this, we need to see that. And I'm like, I want to see that. Those things can't happen if we don't have some of these other things in place first. Like that old school diner, that'd be epic. I'd love to have like a meat and potatoes, diner kind of style here. And you got 2 vacant restaurants in Emmett's and McNair's.
Yeah. Well, McDonald's and Dairy Queen.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen with those.
See, I remember Dairy Queen, when I was a kid whenever the summer rec season was over. John Smith, the owner, used to use a wading pool and made like an 800-pound sundae.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, they would build it up over weeks and weeks using the extra ice cream left over at the end of the night, and they'd bring it down. I know one time.
How did they do? Like, did they keep it cold? Or?
Yeah, they had a big enough freezer to do that. And then they would just open up big number 10 cans of sauces and dump it all in there and throw a bunch of peanut. And so then we'd all line up and they would just take scoops out of that and throw it to us. There was actually
that's epic.
I know there was a picture that appeared in don't know if it was a way back column or if somebody had it on a Facebook post or something, that there was a picture of that one time.
Yeah, I'd love to see those become some sort of convenient or fast food. What's like your go-to fast food place in Columbia?
Ooh, my go-to.
Will you ever eat Taco Bell again?
No, I'm still a fan of Taco Bell. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I do.
You saw how the sausage was made, and you're like, all right, I'll still eat it.
Yeah, no, yeah. I still like Taco Bell a lot. Couple of their boxes that they advertise are actually pretty good values. Popeyes is run pretty good in Columbia. That's the one thing with fast food franchises. It comes down to how the manager and the team run the place. I've given up on the McDonald's in the Columbia area for right now. I just had enough bad experiences, but the Burger King on Business Loop has treated me right every time I've been there. And of course, during the summer, you have Mugs Up right there behind me.
Yep.
That's always a good place to go to.
And you've got Just Jeff's across from me, right?
Yep.
Have you had him?
We just had Just Jeff's the other day.
Okay, I got to try that sometime.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. No, I still do Taco Bell.
Yeah, sometimes I'll sneak over there because the milkman stops by Just Jeff's too. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that dairy truck? Yeah. Sometimes I'll sneak grab that. Okay. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, but okay. So you're hopeful for Fayette, and then last thing is just give advice to, I'm kind of in your son's age, but kind of give advice if you're looking at younger you in your 30s or at your kids, living in a small town. Just some advice, like if you could either do things differently or advice that you would give us as we're trying to figure it out.
Well, I know everybody says, well, I guess a lot of people use this as advice, but try to live on a certain percentage of what you make and put some away. And that's even above any 401ks or anything your job does.
Yep.
And then when you have the chance, if you can invest in a business or a stock or a property, something you can do to make that money grow just a little bit more. And eventually you'll have something that you'll be able to make the money grow significantly. If I could have thought about it when I was younger and possibly is there some kind of business I could have set up, in Fayette and been here my whole life, sure. But at the time, I don't know what it would have been.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's just, if you decide you want to stay in a town, what can you do to help be part of the culture? Don't just live in the town, be part of the town. What can you do to help the culture grow? What can you do to help make the culture better?
Yeah.
Whether it be just the way you act as a person out in the community or the way your business does business, or a theme, if your business has a theme, Lafayette, with their decor, Mickey with a lot of her classic movie decor and everything, what can you do to be different to where not only the local people will accept you, but somebody 50 miles away, 100 miles away, 200 miles away, I want to go check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my ideas, and then we'll wrap up, is I wanted to do I want to call it Friday Nights in Fayette, where I try to get some food trucks, just every Friday night, food trucks and like maybe some drink stands outside by my ice cream shop.
Okay.
And call it Friday Nights in Fayette.
I like it.
I don't know, simple. I just thought of it. Yeah, but I appreciate you saying that. So not just, living in the community, but being a part of it. That's good advice for all of us to hear. Okay, well, let's hit it with this then. If you want to buy a car, Novy is the guy you should buy a car from. Dude, if you know how brand loyal I am to Toyota.
Right.
And it's just ridiculous. I can't help myself. If you sold Toyotas, I would have no more money. So just so everybody knows, if Novy sold Toyotas, I would buy all the Toyotas from you.
Right.
And I would have no money left.
Yeah, you need to check out the 27 Telluride though. You need to check out the changes.
You know what? I'm always willing to look at it for sure. I'm always willing to look at it. But anyway, if you need a Kia, Novy is your guy. Any fun stuff happening in the Kia world that you want to tell people, and then we'll wrap up?
Not really I can think of. Like I said, the 2027 Telluride was a big redesign. It's been a popular model since it came out. And
they, what is the Telluride? That's the Carnival's like the
SUV.
9-seater, right?
Well, no, the Carnival seats 8.
Okay.
Yeah, the Carnival seats 8.
But that's the big van, right?
That's the van. Okay. The Telluride's the big SUV.
Sweet.
And it's even going to be coming out in a hybrid version later this year. So you'll have a third row SUV that's going to get you 35 miles a gallon.
Dang.
Yeah. So,
all right, folks. Well, this has been good. Thanks for spending time with me. It's been fun to get to know you.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you've just been my friend's dad. And then, of course, like I've gotten to know you over the past couple of years a little bit better. But this has been good. Are they still doing anything for Marcia, fundraising or anything like that?
Yeah, there's still, you can always donate to the Holiday House or the food pantry in her name.
Gotcha.
I'd have to check and see if they still have an account set up at one of the banks, but you can always do the Holiday House or the food pantry.
Yeah.
In her
Has
memory.
everything been taken care of there, though, for her on her end? Memorial service happened already, right?
Right. I think so.
Okay.
I think everything.
Okay. Well, appreciate you spending time with me. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, man, it was great. And then, you know what? I know you were talking earlier, I can't remember if it was before we started or not, about seeing, you grew up and then, and then we had to watch you grow up and, you're a good businessman. It's a pleasure.
Well,
your office always does a good job taking care of all my asinine questions.
Well, good. And hopefully some ice cream too.
We do
to wash down the other
we
stuff.
usually do ice cream every Wednesday after choir rehearsal.
Fun.
Yeah.
Are you singing?
Yeah, my wife, Mickey and I are both in the church choir.
No way. That's fun. Where do you guys go? Is it First Christian?
First Christian Disciples. See, talk about family ties and everything. That's how my dad learned about Fayette. Back in the early 60s, my Uncle Terry, one of my dad's older brothers, was the minister of First Christian Church.
Wow.
And that's how Dad knew about Fayette and the National Garment Company and stuff like that.
That's all it takes. Just a little bit of a connection. So, well, my only ask is that you share this, if you would, on your Facebook so people can see this thing.
I'll put it on both my personal Facebook and my business Facebook.
Oh, that's nice of you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, Novy, thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Appreciate you being on.